That's your boy Gooch.
That is your boy Keys. That guy to my left is, of course, the Mod Father.
And this is the RogueHead Huddle with Gooch and Keys, presented by RGR Football. Gooch?
And the Mod Father. Hey, check it out. First of all, I just want to point out that we just finished filming the first episode of the Picks Pool for the playoffs. And you should go back and watch the Picks Pool, all the videos for the last 18 weeks. You know your boy won, but you should see how I did it, coming back in tremendous fashion, because these guys ain't no slouches. So I had to work for it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We appreciate you guys for watching us today. Go check out the RGR store. Go back, check out all the other RGR content. If you're not a member, subscribe, become a member. The three of us, plus Ryan and Big Chief Sean and Jeff and this other guy, last name Harms, is in the Discord. Come check us out. Till then, take this walk with us.
The guy that says things that puts him in harm's way. All right, let's just get right to it. Thoughts on the Broncos game?
Man, letting him walk or run all over us to get 2 touchdowns. 1, okay. 2 for Drew Lock. What is that? Where was our defense there, guys?
I was screaming. I was screaming mad because you have to hit him and you have to make him not want to think about running for the rest of the game. Like, he got to a point where running was basically his first thought, and we didn't stop him from thinking that, and we had to. Somebody had to step up and pop him one so that he was no longer even thinking about running being an option, and our defense didn't do that, so that was a total letdown for me. Dude?
First, I think it shouldn't have came to a late game scoop and score. But I'm going to dig into my toxic conspiracy theory fan here. And y'all walk with me on this one now. Y'all walk with me on this. Maybe the ploy was to make Drew Lock look good so that the Broncos commit to him as the starter of the future. And you've got guaranteed 2 wins in division every single year until they cut it. It just kind of got out of hand because you really don't want Aaron Rodgers plus Herbert plus Carr, who is underrated. He's not as good as Herbert, but he is underrated. You don't want to have to run that gauntlet. Unless they got Kirk Cousins, which it's Denver. They might. This is just my idea. What do you guys think?
I think it's a good theory.
It's got to have crossed your mind, right? Like,
I am still a Drew Lock fan. He went to school in Lee Summit, where I graduated from. We know some of his
HGs
friends.
are on early, guys. The HGs are on early.
Right, I'm getting what I have to say out of the way before Keys goes off.
It's not going to be much. Go ahead.
But yeah, we know the Broncos were kind of playing with him over the summer on whether he was gonna start or not, and we think it was basically to light a fighter under him, try and get him to start playing. I think he just needs some time, but I'd love to see him as our backup. So I hope they let him go, just cut him, let him go, and we don't have to trade, or he's going elsewhere. They won't be trading him to us.
I'm going to speak on both of those points. One, with the rumors of Bieniemy possibly being the Broncos' next head coach, I doubt he wants Drew Lock as his quarterback. But if he didn't end up there, then I'm completely for that, and I would hope that that would be the case, that it would be to keep Lock there. Now, to Aaron's point, I believe I heard somebody talking, maybe it was last week during the game, about how Locke came from a system where they were calling the offense with like cue cards on the sideline or something, and so he's still learning the game. And so maybe he does need some time, but if that's the case, the last thing you want him to do, even as a backup, is to come to our offense where the gulf between the Broncos offense and our offense is probably even bigger than Missouri's offense and the Broncos offense. So I'm not so sure how well that would work out for Drew or the Chiefs if that were the case. Even though we don't expect to have to play our backup that often. When we do, we want to have some kind of level of trust in them. So
I get your point.
what do you think on the game, Gooch? I know you got stuff to say. I know you got thoughts.
Dog, I'm just telling you, I think it should have been way over before the scoop and score. I think we played with our food. I think they weren't focused. I think they were thinking playoffs. They knew they were in. It was just a matter of who they were going to play. I don't think there was any focus there. You could tell. I hope that game isn't the team that goes. Was it the Bengals and Broncos the last two games? I hope that team isn't the team that goes into the playoffs. Because we're going to get by Pittsburgh, I think. But playing the way we've been playing, you're not going to get past anybody else.
Right. And
those are my thoughts.
How many games have we had?
Through that. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, how many games have we had this season where we've came out with some kind of excuse, right? Like this game was the field, right? The field conditions. I'm not saying that, some or many of these excuses haven't been relevant, but, how about one game where there's no excuse and no need for an excuse, and we just know what this team is, like, regardless of everything. And this game, to me, was an utter disappointment for the things that we said that we needed to see, and we needed to see the team take a step forward. And that's to not, take anything away from Denver's defense. I was very disappointed in our offense, but our defense, I think, is where the real disappointment was against. I mean, you cannot let a Drew Lock-led offense score that many points against you.
I'm with you. I was actually kind of shocked, honestly. Like, I really thought they would have come down a little upset after the Bengals game. And I just think it was fun in games. I don't know. The game just kind of overall threw me.
Yeah, it definitely did me too. I did not expect to go down to them by, was it 14 before we decided to start getting into the game?
Right. It's like they didn't even show up.
Really, if they didn't get that scoop and score, what was going to happen? It did not look good.
Right. And props
Defense
to Bolton,
didn't
by the
show.
way. That was what? That was Ingram. Ingram caused the fumble,
Yep.
right? And Bolton. So kudos to Ingram and Bolton. Ingram making a key play, and he's getting paid way less than Frank. I'm going to say it for you, Gooch. And he's already making an impact in ways that we haven't seen Frank make an impact since what, 2019?
Right. And I don't even know if you can call it. I don't know if you can call it causing a fumble more so than taking the handoff, because he was like back there with him when he got the ball. I think he accidentally gave it to Ingram because the way it just came out, I was like, who the hell's he handing it to?
And then the Mizzou guy picks it up and runs it in.
And the Mizzou guy picks it up. I will say this, Bolton looks a little faster than his pro day would say, because that dude took off.
Yeah.
I mean, according to his pro day, Drew Lock runs faster than him, and he was running away from Drew Lock. No, I'm just saying. I used to
The
watch
other
Drew Lock
Mizzou
in Week
guy.
7 too, by the way. I thought he was a can't miss prospect for real.
Well, I think Ryan always said that Bolton had straight speed. Like, he can run forward. He's got the speed to run forward. Just don't ask him to run laterally. So, but yeah, I mean, kudos to those guys. Didn't look like very many guys on our defense really came to play. Of course, you got to hand it to the Broncos. I mean, they were at home. This was as close as they were getting to the Super Bowl, having already been eliminated. And of course, there's nothing, that you want to do more as the home team than, upset a divisional rival and send them back to the third or fourth seed. And so, I mean, of course they showed up. Fangio was playing for his job. Drew Lock was playing for a job somewhere. And yeah, most of those guys were not making business decisions, unlike most of our guys. And of course, in one sense, you can understand that since we have a game to play this weekend, and Denver knew they didn't have a game to play. But
Favored by 12.5.
I think it really just comes down to what we don't know. We know a lot of things. We don't know the mindset of the players in the locker room, and so we can only speculate. And based on what we see, I think really kind of makes us nervous heading in. Well, I shouldn't say that, because I think Chiefs Kingdom has a tendency to get overly optimistic and just expect us to blow people out when we haven't shown that we can blow anyone out this year except for the Raiders. And so I don't know why we expect that when we haven't seen it. This game was just kind of a lot of things that we've been harping on throughout the season. And so I'm not any less concerned. Hopefully, when we film next week's episode and we're celebrating a Steelers win, a lot of our questions have been answered. But I don't think that's the case right now, at least not for me.
I couldn't believe how many people were backing off of tackles, though. I don't know if they were saving themselves for the playoffs. I'm hoping that's what it is. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on it. But yeah, I kept seeing guys back off of tackles. They'll get them. I can't stand seeing it, but I guess I kind of get it. We don't need our best players getting hurt, so. But I saw Matthew do it a few times. And he could be saving himself for a contract. I'm not sure.
I think the problem with doing this is that, one, they always say it in preseason and training camp and stuff, and it's that the most dangerous thing you can do is give half effort. That's where you get injured. It's not going full out. It's when you're going halfway and you're just kind of playing. And so, I think that would be a big concern for me. The other thing is, when you ingrain that mindset into your head, it's really hard to get it out, the next week when you need to. Like, you can't, or you shouldn't be able to just have, multiple levels like that where you just, we're just kind of not playing this week, and then next week, we're kind of playing. It's either you're playing or you're not. Maybe that's more my personality. There's 0 and there's 100. There's no 50. It's one or the other. And so, I think getting that kind of mindset, in your brain before your next game probably isn't the best strategy. Anyway, Gooch, you were saying something.
No, I don't know what it was now. I think we covered it.
Okay. Do you guys have any more thoughts on the Broncos game?
Nah. Let's get past it. We won. We took it.
Yep, and probably as a result, I mean, well, Fangio was fired, right? I guess there was the decision, right? His decision to not keep going, and what he kicked a field goal that still put him down by 4, which still, I mean, it still makes it a two possession game. So in some way, that that probably kind of I don't want to say saved us because we don't know what the end result would have been, but clearly going for 3 when you need 4 wasn't the right thing. And our offense did kind of get it started in the second half a bit, but we still sputtered a little bit. And our defense was just letting them go down the field like crazy. I mean, it was Romeo Crennel bend but don't break defense, and it was kind of maddening. And I don't know, I've seen some people theorize that Spags was playing more zone and trying out, some different things, or purposely going vanilla for the playoffs. We just don't know, and that's kind of the frustrating thing is, we really don't know. Because in one sense, you expect veteran coaches, to do things like that, but in the other sense, they've made a lot of questionable calls in the last year, so it's really hard to know what to trust them on and what to question them on. Anyway, do you guys have any last things on the Bronco game before we get to the Steelers? All right.
Now I'm quiet.
So we'll beat the Steelers if
We show up. I mean, show up. I don't just mean
physically
make it
show
there.
up. Right.
My father putting the disrespect on the Steelers.
No.
You just show up to the building. This game's over. OBA. Over.
We have to contain the running game. We
I was
can't
gonna
let
say, how much double A?
we can't let TJ Watt get in that backfield all day long. We need to double him or chip him every play. That's how we win this game handily and do what we did last time. But be prepared for them to not play us the same way as they did. It's the playoffs. Got to come to play.
All right. Gooch?
That's a thing that me and Keys bickered about. Not bickered about, but talked about earlier this season.
No,
When
you're
we
a
play
married
teams a
couple.
second time, we play games a second time, and it's like, oh, we didn't expect them to do that. We didn't expect them to adjust. And then all of a sudden, we were either losing, excuse me, or playing in a tighter game than it should be. With that being said, we'll beat the Steelers if Andy remembers that he's an offensive guru. Spags and Andy get together and make decent changes to the defense, knowing that the Steelers aren't going to play us like they played us 3 weeks ago. And we can't play like we played 3 weeks ago. Because now, I think the saying is a cornered animal or a dying animal is the most dangerous animal in the world. And the Steelers are both. Like, they backed into the playoffs with a quarterback who, excuse me, let's face it, doesn't have it anymore. And this is his end run. And what scares me is I heard this on another channel, I think, or whatever, and they took me back to the year that Ray Lewis retired. And Ray Lewis had a broken elbow, and he had that brace on, and somehow they won the Super Bowl, just riding that emotion. So if you don't come out matching the Steelers, this game could be, I think he said it in the Picks Pool, watch the Picks Pool, this game could be Houston from 2 years ago, where you look up and you're down 28-0, and it's early second quarter. And then the question becomes, do we have those horses again to come back? So there's a lot of things to do. I mean, I still think we'll win. I just think there's a lot of variables that need to be covered in order for us to beat them. Matching their intensity, making adjustments from week 15 or 16, from week 16 or whatever. And just remember, this is one or done. There is no tomorrow. After you lose today, you don't, oh, we'll get them next time. It's the off season for you. So that's my keys. What you got, Keys? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think that this one is going to be an interesting one because, there's a possibility that Juju comes back for this game. I believe their tight end, Pat Fryermuth, is that his name?
Yeah.
Is active for this game. He missed that game the last time we played them with a concussion. And so I think that those two additions are going to change the Steelers' offense a little bit. Like they're going to have more weapons this time around. So you're looking at Claypool, Johnson, and Juju, and Fryermuth, who I believe was like maybe second in rookie tight ends in receiving this year or something. I thought he had like 800 yards or something like that. I could have just made that up though. And so I think their offense is going to be better and different than what we saw, but there's still limitations. There's limitations on Ben's arm, what throws he can and cannot make. And I would hope at least that Spags understands what those are, having watched enough film, to where, we play our zones in the right spaces to take away all the throws that Ben can make fairly easily and force him to beat us with the throws that he really would have to get absolutely lucky to make. But I also believe we were missing Chris Jones in this game. Were we missing anyone else in this one?
Willie Gay and Snead.
Yeah.
Was that this game?
And Watts and Fenton, and we were missing a nice bunch of players.
Yeah, I couldn't remember which game. So, that's going to balance things out too, especially if this was the game that Chris Jones, one of the ones that Chris Jones missed. I mean, that's going to make a huge difference as well. So maybe that, getting all these guys back balances out the guys back that the Steelers are getting. On offense for us, this was this the game that Tyreek just came back for and we didn't have Travis?
I believe so, and he barely played.
Yeah.
Tyreek. Yeah.
I believe that's correct. And so, this is the game that they basically didn't see the offense that we like to run all the way through. And so,
we had Pringle going, and we had Hardman going a little bit.
Yeah, I think offensively, I don't think and I hate to say this because every time, this offense still is really frustrating to me. But on paper, I don't see the Steelers' defense being an issue for our offense. Yes, they have Watt. Yeah, you're right. We need to definitely chip him at times. We have to be aware of where he's at and run our plays, with that awareness in mind and take advantage of that. But I don't see that matchup there. I would be more concerned about the Steelers' offense against our defense, because if our offense is on, I don't think it matters, how great the Steelers' defense played. So that's definitely a key. Our offense has to be on its game. I think for me, it would kind of be our defense against, the Steelers if they do have Juju back and they have their tight end back. But, like you said, some of our players back on defense kind of balances that out for me.
I agree. And it was Fryermuth had 497 yards, so just under 500, but he had 7 touchdowns.
Okay, that's what it was. I knew he was high in something. So, yeah. So 7 touchdowns, and that's an issue. We'll beat the Steelers if Steve Spagnuolo fully comprehends the abilities and inabilities of one Benjamin Neiman and one Daniel Sorensen. Because if I see Daniel Sorensen lined up against the tight end that has 7 touchdowns this year, I might throw everything in my house. You guys will definitely get an angry text from me. And so,
Yeah.
and I'm not joking. There's no reason for it. If they play in this game, it should be to preoccupy offensive linemen so that more talented players can knock Ben on his butt. End of story. If they want to use them, go ahead.
I want him to get home, and even if they don't, he needs to be on the ground. You put him on the ground as much as you can. And he's having trouble getting up already. So get him on the ground.
I think this is a game where, and I know you'll love this, Aaron. I think this is a game where you come up with a great blitz to get Nick Bolton a free shot at Ben.
I'd be good with Willie Gay doing it too.
Now
he's got the speed.
This could be a game where, because of Ben's arm, you could put Sorensen as your deep safety because Roethlisberger can't throw it over Sorensen's head. You're shaking your head
every time. I cringe every time he goes in the backfield.
All right, let's ask this. Do you guys disagree with that? Do you think that Ben can outthrow Sorensen's range to cover?
He doesn't have to outthrow him. All you have to do is have the right wide receiver on him, and it doesn't matter if Ben can overthrow him because he's outmatched talent-wise against all of Pittsburgh's wideouts.
We've seen him sitting there looking at the ball go right past his hands into the receiver.
You yourself, Keys, even put it on Twitter where he ran to go get water when he was supposed to be covering a receiver. So it doesn't even...
Right, that's covering though. I'm talking about as a deep as the deep safety, right? 20, 25 yards downfield where he can catch fair catches if Ben throws up some lame ducks for him.
I don't think Ben throws up lame ducks. I think you put Sorensen back there in center field, and Ben lights up and goes, I can throw it at least 15 yards. And you send Chase and Schuster right at him, and they will shake the panties off of Sorensen on their way to the end zone.
I cringe every time he goes in coverage.
All right, so how about this? You have Sorensen stand 20 yards deep. You have Thornhill lie on the ground behind him where no one can see him on the field. And then when Ben throws, Sorensen drops down. Thornhill gets up. All right.
I'm picturing all this. Go on.
The weird thing is I am too. I've got the pictures in my head of this happening.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm playing around, but I go back to what I originally said. I don't mind either one of them if they are preoccupying an offensive lineman and allowing a more talented blitzer to go free. That's what I want them used for if they're on the field. Otherwise, I would rather see Bolton struggle some laterally in pass coverage than to see Neiman on the field and see the Steelers be smart enough to bring in personnel packages to force us to have our second best linebacker and our best run stopping linebacker off the field for most of the game when they'll just like audible into a handoff, I think would probably irritate me the most. So
Don't put Neiman out there. Get DOD in there. Every time he's in there, he flashes. I don't get it. I'm done with Neiman. Give DOD a chance.
well, I think the problem is we're now in the playoffs, and that's not going to happen.
You've
Like
got a good point.
if they walked onto the field and I saw DOD and Watts on the field, then I'd probably be like, you know what? They've been punking everybody all season.
And this
Like
game's in the
that would
bag.
be the shock. That would be the most shocking thing ever.
Sadly.
That or I'd have to start Googling to see if maybe somebody hired Jeff Galooly to take out Sorensen's knees and Neiman's knees.
Why me? Why me?
For those of you that don't
Sorry.
know, that's a Nancy Kerrigan reference. If you're old enough, you get it. I'm just saying.
And Tanya Harding.
You know, it's funny because I'm the youngin', Jeff, and or Gooch, and yeah, I was thinking of the oldest. Sorry, I'm the youngin', Gooch, and I'm old enough to know that reference. Mainly because I was old enough to have a crush on Nancy Kerrigan.
Who didn't?
Right?
You are not a red-blooded American, and you didn't have a crush on Nancy Kerrigan. Everybody had a crush on Nancy Kerrigan.
It was the hair for me.
All right, anything else you guys
Anyway.
want to add?
I think I'm good.
We're the healthiest apparently team in the playoffs. Although CEH and Daryl are a little nicked up, and I don't believe either of them practiced today. We're filming this Thursday, and so there's some question there. You know, I think if McKinnon, first game back, McKinnon to me didn't really flash, but the McKinnon I just saw, that guy had some juice, and that guy was winning around the corner. He was beating people to the edge. And so that McKinnon has me excited about what we could possibly see because, and you know, I like Gore as much as any Chiefs fan out there, going all the way back to training camp when I wanted him to make the 53, and you know when I've been begging for him to get called up because he had the most juice I've seen on the team. But
Yep.
the juice that McKinnon flashed is even more than that. And so I think if what we saw, if we can get a repeat out of that juice, I think that's only going to make this offense even harder. Because I think I said a week or two ago, you know, we needed Damian Williams back. CEH should not be the lead running back. And, you know, if we're going by committee, it's okay to have a guy like CEH, but you also have to have your power back like Daryl, who's also a good receiver. But Damian was the fastest guy, and he's the speed guy that we had been missing for these outside zones that for some reason they have been loving to run. And he wasn't bad at catching the ball either.
Nope.
And so if McKinnon, you know, we all know he was a speed guy before. That's one of the reasons they brought him in, but he hadn't looked like he had that juice, you know, preseason, all season long. He hadn't looked like it. And so I think that would be big. You know, if he keeps coming out now and he's flashing that juice, I think that makes our running back room a lot scarier. What was that, Gooch?
It's just getting juicy in here. He's got the juice.
Juicy and adorable.
Yeah, I'm just fine if we don't have CEH and Daryl. I still like our chances. I love McKinnon. I love Gore. Let them have the ball.
So think
perfectly
about
fine.
this. I'm I'm going to tap into my toxic Chiefs fandom again with another conspiracy. Now, for a few weeks ago, I don't know if people noticed that even though Baker was hurt, the Browns weren't running Chubb. And then 2 weeks later, they said he had a rib injury, but they let Baker basically throw them out of the playoffs, almost like they were trying to expose him. Now, beat this. Key said it. McKinnon looked good in those runs that they are so fond of. Is this them realizing that they made a mistake by letting playoff Damian go, drafting CEH, and continuously showing that CEH can't do what Damian could do? He's not even that type of runner. And all of a sudden we've got Gore, and Daryl's always been Daryl. But we've got Gore, and McKinnon is showing the juice. I mean, is CEH, who is proven to be unhealthy, on his way out of Kansas City? Just a thought, boys. Just a thought.
Well, I think if you wanted to get rid of him, you would try to showcase the things he can actually do well so that you could get, more for him. At least I would hope so.
This is where this is where the conspiracy is, though, Keys, because when the Chiefs drafted him, 31st, is that right?
32nd, right?
Was that Super Bowl year?
I believe so.
Okay. So when they pulled him 32nd, every other team in the NFL was like, oh, we were going to get that guy. Now, the Chiefs have been using him, but if you think about it, even you, me, Ryan, Chiefs are using him wrong, right? So if you're just putting on film that you're constantly using him wrong, what GM/coach/offensive coordinator goes, get me him because I can use him the right way. And the Chiefs are just looking like they're incompetent just to get out from under that, because you already see what you got in him. Like you said yourself, he's got speed to get to the second level. He doesn't have speed to get to the third.
Nope.
He
His
can't even really
longest
find.
run as a Chief is 26 yards.
He can't even really find the holes most of the time. Do you want to know why that run against the Steelers worked, where he bounced off the two tackles? It's because those two Steeler guys hit each other before they hit Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Go back and look at it. Because I was like, oh, that had to hurt to be hit by your own teammate.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. And then I think he threw his shoulder out doing that little He-Man dance he did after he scored it. So then when he fell on it the next time, he was out. I'm just saying, this is my thoughts, just because I think on a different plane than most people. I might be crazy. Who knows? But
Definitely
this is just
crazy.
where my thoughts lead. Thanks, my
Who
friend. I
isn't
appreciate
crazy though?
So I like a good conspiracy as much as the next person, and maybe I give people credit for being more intelligent than they are. But I would think that if they wanted to do this right, you at least have to sprinkle in some plays where you actually show him doing what he can do best. So that's on film too, and so they can see, oh yeah, he can do that. And then they can ask, well, why aren't the Chiefs using him properly? But I haven't even seen us do that, right? And this is like the most mystifying thing ever so, we now have a receiver turned receivers coach, coaching the running backs. And all we heard in the offseason, training camp, preseason, was how they're all running these routes and how improved CEH is and all of this stuff. And we still didn't get to see him run routes this season. And there's multiple reasons out there, or multiple ideas out there. Like, we talked, I think, last week about him being 5'5" or 5'6" or whatever, and Pat not really maybe trusting him to throw him the ball, which I think has some merit, right? Maybe it's a more of a Patrick thing where he's the one who's not comfortable with him. He liked what he saw in college, but now in the NFL, with how short he is and everything, like Patrick is the one who realized, you know what? I don't feel comfortable throwing to this guy. And so, maybe we need to move on. And I don't know if that's the case or not. And I don't know how fair it is to throw out the conjecture or not. But still, I would hope that, like the problem is I don't think you have a problem getting another team to give you a draft pick for, a former first round player. But if you're expecting a draft pick, I think you want to make him look as good as possible to get as high to recoup as much of your value as possible. And of course, I said draft pick. And so if you're thinking of targeting certain teams who have a similar type of player that you covet and you just want to do a 1-for-1 swap, then I think it makes a lot more sense. But I mean, I don't know who that player would be, but I would think that would make a lot more sense if that was the case. But that's just me. And again, I could be giving, front office people a lot more credit than they deserve. I don't know.
I believe you do. Because, see, here's the thing. I'm going to teach you something. And if you got little ones watching the old huddle, you might want to turn them away because you don't want them growing up with this detail I'm about to give you in life, okay? You need to go through life assuming everyone is a moron. That way, when they open their mouth and they prove they're a moron, you're not surprised. Or two, if they turn out that they're not a moron, you're pleasantly surprised. Now, that's not to say that everybody in the NFL are morons, but I believe the Chiefs believe that everybody's a moron. Here's why. I'm not even going to say that. But here's why. Because Keith said you think you put him in the best position, right? The problem is every time you try to put him in the best position, he gets hurt. And so what are the chances of you recouping a draft pick or a player-for-player swap on a running back who's 2 years in, 1 year in, 2 years in?
2 years.
Who's 2 years in and has yet to play even collectively a full season of games. Like, it's just, I'm just saying. So I think they're doing as little as possible because, I mean, let's face it, Ryan Pace is still in Chicago and he loves picking up Chiefs relics. You know what I'm saying? I'm just putting it out there. I'm just saying. And the moron thing is true. I do actually believe that. But you probably figure I don't have many friends. I don't. It's generally these two idiots on the other side of the screen.
We're not really.
We did talk a lot about Gore in preseason, though, and camp. We all pretty well liked him, I believe. Wanted him to make the 53, like Keith was saying earlier.
Now, I'm going to make a correction here. I'm going to interject to make a correction here before it happens in the comments. Ryan Pace did get fired along with Matt Nagy.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
Okay, I was not aware of that. I knew they cut Nagy. I hadn't heard that they cut Pace.
Yep.
Well, boys, I can't be on top of my game all the time. I done caught something. I'm feeling under the weather. You got to take it easy on me.
I'm with you, man. But another thing we did talk about was Gore is actually a Bama guy.
Yes, he is.
Of.
Now, I'd like to get into that because Keys likes to give me grief about that Alabama team and how I didn't know who Gore was. And I ran down a list of who was on that team. I think Gore was third string. And you're dealing with when I'll say Minka Fitzpatrick and I mean, it was crazy. This team, now I can't think of them because I ran them down to Aaron on a personal phone call, and we was like, dang, yeah. And Gore's 27, which means he didn't even go to college till late, or he bounced around for a long time.
He is older than you would have thought.
Yeah, he really is. Go ahead, Keys. I know you got to correct me on something, set me straight. I see that smile on your face.
All I was going to say is that real fans know all the players on their teams, especially the ones that make it to the NFL. But, you know.
That is
Touche, my friend. Touche.
I can guarantee you that Georgia fans know all the players on their team.
It's because not many of them make it to the NFL. This is coming from someone who was born in Georgia. I'm just saying.
Sorry, that was a low blow. I should not have mentioned anything to do with the national champion Georgia Bulldogs at all. So, all right, anything else?
Hang on. Yeah. I like to put out there, because I know you're going to watch this. Dan Harms, if you ever root for Bama again, you and I are going to tussle. You are the reason that my Rolling Tide are not national champions.
You and your juju.
I'm just saying. I'm not condoning violence. Dan is a member of the RJR team. If you paid any attention to what we do over here, me and Keys actually go at several people. I hate you, Keys. I'm done. Congrats to the Georgia Bulldogs. It's about time. There's only so many championships the Crimson Tide can win. I mean, we sometimes have to let you guys pull one out. You know what I'm saying? Good luck. See you next year.
All right, guys. Any last thing to add about the Steelers game here?
Nope, I'm good.
I'll throw out the score I threw out in the picks pool. 35-20, Chiefs take it.
Okay.
I think there's still a garbage time score.
You know, for me, it's really about what team we see, what the coaching staff does, right? Because I think that there are all kinds of pieces here, offensively and defensively. And, you know, we still haven't seen the Chiefs play a complete game, like all phases, you know, at least against a team that's not the Raiders. And so it sounds weird to say that against a team that's now in the playoffs, but that we've, you know, just utterly beat really bad twice. But, I mean, it's truthful. And so, you know, I think Blake Bell has been used in a great way or a better way the last few games. He's got to work on those quarterback sneaks. You can't go up, you know, you can't be in motion and then go under center and then wait 2 seconds to hike the ball. So whether that was him or whether that was Creed, they got to work on that if they're going to keep running that play, you know, because teams know, you know, maybe they got to have some kind of fake off of that where I almost said Sherman, but where Burton, you know, comes up right behind him too and he hands it off or whatever, and Bell, you know, pushes him in or something. I don't know.
I've been pleasantly surprised with Bell this year, though. He's been catching the ball.
Right. And I believe I admitted in the last episode or two, I was wrong about wanting Bell off the team. You know, that was more about me wanting to see Jody Fortson make the team and Darius Fountain make the team than it was like any hatred against Bell or Darrell Williams. You know, it was just I just really wanted Jody on the team, and I wanted to see what Fountain could do as well. So
I was with you. I was rooting for the same thing, but yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised by him.
Well, you know, we kind of talked about this in the Discord, but I think this is a game where we're going to have a better idea if the Chiefs have been spreading the ball around more strategically, or if it's solely been out of COVID kind of forcing their hands as Tyreek and Travis get back into game. I don't want to say shape, but, as Jones said, his stamina just wasn't there as he came back. So everybody getting back to game stamina. And so, I think that'll be huge. And so, yeah, I don't know. We should win this game. And I think if we don't win this game, I think that I'm 100% okay with anybody being outraged at our coaching staff. Because I think that ultimately, whether the players show up or not, that's still on the coaching staff in some way, shape, or form. And if they don't show up, I think that's an indictment on Patrick. I think that's an indictment on Tyreek. I think it's an indictment on Travis and on Tyron and anybody else that we think of as a locker room leader, but especially the coaching staff. And so, this is why I don't predict really big wins for the Chiefs, Gooch. Kind of what you said there. I don't want to be surprised by an egg because they've laid eggs before. And so I'd rather be pleasantly surprised that everybody brings their A game and we completely destroy another team and, I can have a heart-healthy week.
There you go.
All right, last words. Anything you want to talk about here before we end our show today, this morning, whenever you're watching it?
Check out the picks pool. We got Seth with us now in the playoffs.
Yep.
The Mod Fathers picks pool. Not what Gooch is trying to call it.
Yeah, now that we're in the playoffs, it's win Gooch's money, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna call you Brian Bradshaw. Win Brian's money.
Could be Hunt is my last name.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like, hit the bell, subscribe if you're not already a member of RGR.
And if you're not, why aren't you?
Go Chiefs.
I actually waited for some last words because we usually don't get too intimate over here on the old huddle, but Mr. Keys over there had a little girl here recently, so we want to say congratulations on that. We also asked for a little prayer for the little Keys and family as they've got some personal stuff going on. And regardless of your beliefs, children are a gift from God, regardless of how you slice it. We appreciate anybody that watches this content, whether religiously or in passing. We appreciate the time you took today. Go back and become a member. Check out all the previous things on RGR. The Picks Pool, if you become a member, become a member. You can talk to me, Keys, my father over there. It's Chief in the North on Thursday. And Seth has some good stuff with the Chief in the North newsletter. I think it's, bit.ly/Seth Really Hates Money. Is that right, Keys?
Yeah, something like that. Seth really hates money.
Yeah. We have the live stream on Monday where the Mod Father controls the chat and Ryan answers any questions that you may have. And if you're looking to get into that, Aaron can guide you through all that when you get in. We are all three on Twitter. That is our Twitter handles down there. Keys on there more so than me and Aaron, but I do jump in a lot. But you'll find us there on the Discord. And finally, me and Aaron have both been battling a little sickness. Obviously, Keys has his thing. Make sure you tell somebody you love them because you never know what comes tomorrow. And we'll see you next time.
Peace out, guys.
We'll be thinking about her, Steve.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.